All right, so let's get started with. So today we're going to continue with our lesson on the pointer. So we have talked about a few things on Tuesday, and again, the pointer will be the most difficult part in our class. Although it's only covered as multi-choice question in the midterm, but it will be you will have programming question in final on pointers. So make sure you can understand. All right. So okay. So we have talked about the pointer, how similar that is with array. Now we want to give you an example that we're using pointer along with array. So we're using pointer to point at array. All right, so it seems quite confusing, but once we look at the result, it might making more senses. So the example we want to look at is a function. It is called sorting string. All right. So this function will be done in 3 steps. First of all, we read a bunch of lines of inputs. Okay, that's step 1. Then we sort them, and finally we print it out. All right. So the reason being of using array and pointer at the same time is we will need to use array to store every single string, right? And however, if we want to move the string over back and forth, that is very tedious work because you have to copy every single character inside this string array. Rather, if we use pointer to point at each string, so instead of shuffling the string content, we're only shuffling the pointer itself. All right, so let me show you an example first on this. So I'm doing 2 things at a time. I'm opening up this example on the classroom screen, then later on I will show that on this broadcast screen. All right, so if we look at this Excel sheet and imagine this is a memory, right? So we will have a list of string such as A, P, P, L, E. So that's one string, right? And we'll save them as again in one array. Then after that, we want to save another string which is cherry, CHARRY, right? So here. Okay. After that, I will say banana. Okay, our goal here is to sort those string, right? Supposedly it should be apple, banana, and cherry if we sort it alphabetically, right? So again, if we're going to shuffle those second and third line, right? If we want to sort it, that means we at one point we need to shuffle those 2 lines, swipe them. It's quite tedious. Imagine if the string is very, very long, then it will take you a lot of time just to, especially you have to copy one string to a temporary array and then copy back and forth. There's a 3 copy operation happening, right? Again, very tedious. So instead, what we do is we are going to define an array, and we will define an array pointer. So this pointer only pointed the first position of each string, so which is A1, A2, and A3, right? So imagine in another memory space, we're only saving the address of each string, the beginning of each string, right? We only save that. Now, what we only need to do is just to make sure they are in the correct order, which means I only need to change it to A1, A3, and A2 instead, right? This is the correct way we want to order the string, right? This is why we want to choose using this pointer and sort the pointer only without changing the string data. The string data is still staying in the memory. It never moves, or it's still in this order. But we will say, okay, this is the way we are going to call them. We will first look at the string on address A1, right? Which is the A, and I will read every single character until we read the null terminal at the end, right? /0, right? And then we're going to read the next string, which is start from A3, right? Hopefully you know what I mean by A3, which is this address, right? Then you read this one, that, and continue to the end of the row, and then finally you read this one, right? So one pointer at a time. Okay, so this is the conceptual level of how this program should work. Any questions so far? Okay, now let's look at the slides again. So we'll need three functions. One is read lines, and after we read them into an array, as well as saving the address of each beginning of each string to a pointer array, and then we're going to sort it using shell sort, and finally we will print it out in the correct format. So this is a code to read all the lines. So there's two things. One is this pointer we created, right? So this pointer will save the address of each string array, right? That's why we say it's maximally we will have only 100 line input, and this we initialize this array as 100, right? But we still want to know what's this the exact number of lines we have read in, so we need this second variable n lines, right? Now let's imagine this read line will read the line into this string array. We'll look at this later. And what it will return is, well, first of all, this a line pointer, right? Because we're passing it as a pointer, so we don't have to return it out of the function. The function will automatically update this pointer array. Secondly, it will return the number of lines, which is, again, we need later for sorting and printing out purpose. But anyways, the reading lines, we will look at this function later, but that will give us two things, right? One is a pointer array, right? As well as number of lines we have read. After, we will sort and print it out. Okay. Next, we'll look at the read lines function itself, right? The read line functions will have several things. So first of all, what happens is we will use a getLine. getLine function to read one single line. Okay, this getLine function will return the length of the input string, as well as it will save the line into this line array. Right, so this line array only saves one string inside of it. So we save it into it, and after that, we will move our pointer. Right, remember this allocate function we have talked about last time. So we have a cache, right? We have a cache in our system, and we're going to put this array into our cache, and then we move our pointer from 0 to whatever the length of this new array is, right? So we move that into this cache. So that new position, this new p-value, will be stored into our pointer array. This will be stored in our pointer array. Okay, so let's look at this Excel example again. So imagine we have this whole area as our stack. Okay, this is our stack. So let me finish that one on my computer as well. So we have the area A10 to A30 is like our stack area. Now we are reading the first line, right? After we read the first line, first of all, we'll save it as inside, save this array in, sorry, save this string in an array, and then we're moving them into our stack. So essentially, we're moving it into here, A, P, P, L, E. All right, after that, we know now our pointer is at A15 now, right? So essentially, we have two pointers. The first pointer will save where this first string begins, which is A10, right? So this is our first part of our array. So let me finish this one on my laptop as well. So we have reading this apple, and that will give us address of the first character in this array, right? And I mean, yes, we then needed to put this. Oh, wrong number. Sorry, I'm using the wrong keyboard. What? Yeah, we'll put this end of the line here, right? So if we're going to add another string, which is the cherry, right, into this cache, the cherry will start from here, CHARRY. So we'll start from here, CHARRY, right? And then we'll have this end of string thing, right? Well, in that case, our array pointer array save the second address, which is A. Oops, sorry. We'll save it here, A16. Don't worry about here. Right, so this is the location of our second array. You can imagine we'll keep doing that for all the string we have read. Again, this is why we use a bunch of pointer array. Let's say next one will be A32, next one will be 48, something like that, right? So you can store as many pointer as you want. Each pointer are representing one string, essentially, right? In our stack, right? So this is our pointer. Later on, we will shuffle them to whatever order we like, but we only need to manipulating this array of pointer, right, without affecting anything in our stack. That makes sense, right? Okay. Yeah, if you imagine, if you want to replace those two strings in our stack, that's a very tedious work, right? You have to clean out everything here, and then you have to copy that to a temporary position, and then send it back, and copy this to a temporary position and send it back, right? It's quite a bit of work. So